are walking up this thing. My feet are killing me. And there's my husband. A while ago, he said, 50 more yards, honey. I think it was farther. Anyways, I see the top. There it is. That'll be good. No, I started again.
Oh.
How much farther?
15 minutes, not even.
2 seconds ago you said 5.
I base my lies on the look on your face. If you look healthy, I lie a little more and I say 50, or I tell the truth. If you look healthy, it's 15 minutes. When you look totally despaired, like you did back there, 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Just one more hill every time.
You're so full of poop.
One more hill. All right, hey guys, Marty up north. So big shout out right now to Maddie Outdoors, who tagged me to do a review of 5 things. Not sure if it's my 5 favorite things or 5 things that I always take on a trip, but my spin will be it's 5 things that I always take on a hiking trip. So most of you know me from a few years now. You know that I'm an Alberta boy. My favorite is doing hiking in Jasper and Banff. And I specialize or focus on doing long hikes in areas that are a little more remote. I like to hike, you know, for the solitude, for the challenge of seeing new areas. And actually, I'm not a minimalist in the sense that that I go ultra lightweight, but I'm a minimalist in the sense that I bring things that I'm familiar with, and I don't bring gadgets. So I'm not a gadget guy. I don't have the latest stove or the latest pot or anything like that. I tend to be very traditional in my approach. So this is my basement right now. This is a room in my basement. You can see here on the you know, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 packs. I got 5 or 6 tents. I got sleeping bags galore. I do hunting. I do hiking. I have a family of beautiful wife Karen, and I have 4 kids: Sarah, Nick, Patrick, and Raymond. So we do a lot of hiking as a family, and so I have gear here. And I think this summer I'm probably going to invite people along for some of my big trips, including Maddie. If you're watching this, we talked about it or texted about it. I'd like to do that Fright Geraldine Traverse again and go down to that big lake. And I might put out a shout out there and get some people to come on the South Boundary Trail. I did it many years ago. It's on my list of things to do this year. But I don't feel like doing it alone for various personal reasons. So keep an eye out for my comments when I'm looking for people who are interested. So here's my basement, my gear. There's some other gear, but here's my pack. And my philosophy when I come back from my trip is that I resupply my pack and it's ready to go. So as is, it's ready to go. The only thing I would have to throw in this pack right now is some food and a bit of clothing. So if I think about the 5 things that I always bring that come to mind, in no particular order, I'm going to talk about number 1. Number 1 is a plastic mug, and this is a mug I got from a vending company years ago. It's lightweight, and I use this for everything. So I don't bring a separate plate and a separate pot and things like that. I eat everything out of this mug, and I've said it before. I get pleasure out of eating, but I eat mostly out of necessity as fuel. It's not a critical component of my hiking. So, you know, I boil water, I can drink my tea, and then if I'm making rice, I eat it out of there. And when I eat in different courses. So I drink the tea while other things are going, and then I'll eat the rice, and then I'll eat the next course. So I don't need a plate where I have all the things like I would at home. I eat one thing at a time. And so be it. So number 1 thing that I always bring on a trip, indispensable, is my pot. Now, if I look on here, I thought about it a little bit. A number 2 thing that I always bring on my pot, again, on my trip, in no particular order, is this miniature little tripod. And some of you have seen it, but this thing again weighs grams. And I like it because, you know, you can mount it almost anywhere. I think it's called a GorillaPod, if I remember correctly. You can mount it anywhere. And in fact, you'll see sometimes I'm on a hike, and I will even, you know, I can attach it to a walking stick if I have it, and I can plant it in the ground. And then when I'm doing a shot of me walking towards myself, so They're super, it's super lightweight, super handy, and I like to document all my trails and all my adventures, so this is one of my go-to items, is a miniature tripod. So that's two things, so it's that. Now, there's so many things, but, and I'm trying to be different because I think everybody has their own opinion on hiking, but this is another item that perhaps some people don't think of. People bring running shoes, moccasins, there's all sorts of theories on it. But I always bring a cheap pair of Crocs. I say cheap because I don't buy the Croc brand name. These are, you know, Walmart specials. They cost whatever, $5. But I use them for walking around camp at the end of the day instead of in my boots. But more importantly, I go to areas where I'm constantly crossing creeks, and rather than get my boots wet or cross barefoot, I just put on my Crocs. So number 3 item on my list is my Croc. Number 4, not necessarily an item that I bring along, but I want to talk about it. I've talked about it many times. My Bible. So the Canadian Rockies Trail Guide by Brian Patton and Bart Robinson. This is my copy that dates back God knows how many years. It's falling apart. They've actually sent me a new version. I still refer to the old one constantly, but what I do that's unique is that, and I have the permission to do this, is I photocopy trails that I'm in. You know, if I'm going on a trail that I've never been in, and that's getting harder and harder for me to do. These are actually old, but what I used to do is I would photocopy the relevant pages and laminate them, and just bring them along like that. Just and actually you can see on some of them I used to have, I used to punch a hole in the corner, and I would actually hang my maps handy somewhere. So, and I keep these more as souvenirs, you know, the Skyline Trail, Macrid Pass. I've done them all. And so that's just something so if it's not pages photocopied and laminated out of a book, it is certainly a map. And actually I found it interesting. There was something, just the very first one I picked. Last year I did the very first one I picked is Shovel Pass. It's laminated, it's clean, it's never been used. Last year the family did the Skyline, and every time I go by the Skyline I always talk about the Shovel Pass via Wabisso, and I just want to read the first chapter, the first bit, because I've never done Shovel Pass. I've never taken a shortcut to the Skyline by taking the Wabisso Pass, and here's why. Here's what the authors of my favorite book had to say. Only the most sadomasochistic backpacker in the world will want to hike to the Skyline Trail using the Wabisso Trail. So that's the opening. But it's laminated. It's on my list of things. So if ever there's guys out there that are up to a major challenge, we could go up to the Skyline, get our fix on the Skyline quickly by going up via Wabisso Pass. So that's number 4. And number 5 is kind of one and the same. Sorry, number 5 is not there. Number 5 is number 5. So number 5 are these little cubes that weigh nothing. They're fire starters, and actually they're the Zip brand of fire starters. So these are fire starters for the barbecue. And what I do is, and sometimes they're hard to find. This box, this box was individually wrapped ones. So sometimes you get them as little packets. They're individually wrapped. They look like Tide Pods. Don't eat them. And but sometimes I buy it in bulk sheets, and if I get a big block of it, then I put it in the Ziploc bag. And the reason I put it in the Ziploc bag, even the individually wrapped ones I would put in the Ziploc bag, is because they do have a chemical smell. So, but the beauty of these things is, you know, I don't need to be macho. I know that, you know, I've said it on other videos. Once I got my lighter and once I got my fire starter, click, this is in there. This allows me to start a fire with almost, whoop, Nick just had a slip there. So it's not a necessity, but boy, it sure makes life easy, and it weighs nothing. So a quick recap, my 5 items, my Zip fire starter, my trusty mug that I'm going to put right back to where it belongs, my Crocs that I like, they go back in there, my tripod, and a map, but specifically familiarize yourself with this trail guide or the new edition, and you know, have something. I mean, even though I know where I've been, I still bring some of these along because over the years, Brian Patton and Bart Robinson did such a good job of documenting the mileage that once you have these trails in hand, and you know, it's nice to know that at kilometer 4.8 it'll be Evelyn Creek, at 8.5 it'll be Little Shovel. It gives you a description of the trail. It reminds you. I know most of the trails by heart, hate to say it, but for you guys that don't know the park intimately, bring something like that. All right. And so thanks, Matt, for the shout out. Now I got tagged to do this about a month and a half ago, so I'm not gonna pass it on forward. I think I'm gonna end the chain there. In fact, when I looked on the video, pretty much anybody that I would have tagged has already been tagged, so I think it would be just going around. But I enjoyed doing this. I hope you guys enjoy doing this as well. It's been a long winter, and I look forward to seeing you guys all out there on the hike this summer. Cheers, everyone.